Hello and welcome to Stories Mother Told. Today's story is one from the Maasai people of Kenya. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Let me take you back to Africa. Today's story is titled The Origin of Cattle. In the beginning, the Maasai did not have any cattle. One day, God called Masinta, who was the very first Maasai, and said to him,
I want you to make a large enclosure, and when you have done so, come back and inform me.
So Masinta went and did as he was instructed, and came back to report what he had done. Next, God said to him,
Tomorrow, very early in the morning, I want you to go and stand against the outside wall of the house, for I will give you something called cattle. But when you see or hear anything, do not be surprised. Keep very silent.
Very early in the morning, Masinta went to wait for what was to be given to him. He soon heard the sound of thunder, and God released a long ladder from heaven to earth. Cattle descended from this long ladder into the enclosure. The surface of the earth shook so vigorously that his house almost fell over. Masinta was gripped with fear, but did not make any sound or movement. While the cattle were still descending, the Dorobo, who was a housemate of Masinta, woke up from his sleep. He went outside, and on seeing the countless cattle coming down the ladder, he was so surprised that he screamed in shock. On hearing this, God took back the ladder, and the cattle stopped descending. God then said to Masinta, thinking he was the one who had spoken,
Is it that these cattle are enough for you? I will never do this again, so you had better love these cattle in the same way that I love you.
This is why, till this day, the Maasai love cattle very much. What about the Dorobo? Masinta was very upset with him for having cut God's ladder, that he cursed him, saying,
Dorobo, are you the one who cut God's ladder? You will remain poor as you have always been. You and your offspring will forever remain my servants. Let it be that you will live off animals in the wild. The milk of my cattle will be poison if you ever taste it.
This is why, up to this day, the Dorobos still live in the forest and they are never given any milk. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. As I mentioned last week, I've added our link in the description for anyone who would like to support the podcast. Feel free to buy me a coffee. It would be much appreciated. As usual, do not forget to rate and review the podcast on iTunes and any other platforms that you do listen on, as this will help the podcast to grow. Share the podcast with a friend and also subscribe so you do not miss an episode. If there are any stories you would like to listen to, send me an email at storiesmothertold@gmail.com. Also, you can hit me up on Instagram at storiesmothertold. And last but not least, do not forget to check out Tontimo for all your Black history needs. Until next week, see ya.